Welcome to another Motortown post-event race commentary. Today we got the second set of the Sports Retro Inline 4 event, which is once again happening on the TWL live server since once again, sadly, the event server didn't work. So here we are amongst other people doing other stuff, but should hopefully go well. Let's get into it. At least once again, we have quite a few people in here, more than in a few other recent events, so this is really nice to see. And yeah, we're about to get started in a moment. Nice little mix of different vehicles in here. The one that I'm missing personally is maybe a few of the Fortums, so getting a Porsche or two in here. I'll try and get some representation going for the last race at least, but here we are for now. This, by the way, isn't strictly speaking the same car that I've been using for the first set. In between the two, I got myself another Zyno and copied over the livery and everything, but then gave it a slightly different tune, including a third brake light, which I really enjoy having for these kind of races. So yeah, we're about to get started here hopefully, and we'll see how this one goes. Since we are back on the live server again, it's going to be the same 3 ties as the last time. I was hoping for the event server to be up again so that we could do the proper third race, but once again, it would be in Gangyang, and that's just a bit too risky for these kind of things, so yeah. Gonna go with something a bit safer, so we are going to do the steel mill again. But first up, let's get through this race, which doesn't start too smoothly, and I think I remember something going wrong almost immediately after. So yeah, no idea what happened there, but it kinda got me a bit of damage, flung me off to the side. I don't know if Scrum for some reason managed to collide with Phoenix there. And that was what caused the whole thing. Maybe it might have been just a temporary hiccup on the server side. But yeah. Whatever it wasn't too great for me. Also, this lamppost being flung directly my direction. I remember being really happy that I managed to avoid all the issues, and then the issues found me anyways. And yeah, we got another player over there. Hopefully nobody collided with them. And they also now just pulled over on the track. And I think they are now driving alongside us in the same direction. I don't know. There's always the chance that somebody might join after all the event announcements have been made. And they obviously cannot know that this area right now is kinda supposed to be a bit more off limits. Another person are waiting until we are finished, or at least until all the races have come through. But yeah, this is certainly a very different race compared to the first set. I'm stuck very far in the rear, and I mean, people in front of me looking at the percentages are mostly in within reach. So maybe we might be able to do something here, but it also depends on how the rest of the race goes. If we get another little rainstorm going, if I mess up, if other people mess up, yeah, that's all going to change the outcome massively. Apparently Shep missed a turn there, so that's one position for me. Getting back towards the end of the lap now. And Capari is quite a ways away from everybody else, it seems. Chess in second, so that's another fast person who might be able to take the lead, who knows. But yeah, Raging also in fourth position, so that's another fast person, so we're gonna see how it goes. So with me being behind those and not knowing everybody who is in front of me either, I mean, sixth position right now is okay. I might be able to get fifth or maybe even fourth, but I don't think much of anything else will be realistic here at this point. I'm also slowly overheating, it seems, which I don't know if I was keeping track of during the race. Certainly trying to not run off track right here. The person behind me certainly didn't get the corner right and is now slowing down, trying to get back onto the road, just as it starts to rain. This is going to shake things up a little bit. So right now, just from looking at it, it seems like my Zyno is definitely a bit better equipped to deal with the rain. Maybe not actually looking at this. When the Panther from the on the last race in the last set. But yeah, I'm just completely driving off road here. I don't know. The car was doing something really weird there, and trying to counteract that had me drive off the road, so it just didn't really work out too well. Maybe I was a bit too fast for that to begin with, because otherwise I might have been able to keep my control, but yeah, it's definitely trying to step out on me, which is not too great. It also seems like we are coming up on somebody that I might be lapping here. I don't know what's going on with Nick and their Zyno. They are most likely in the same car as I am, but tuned well very differently and just having the worst time with it. Not that I'm doing too well either, to be honest. It was a really unfortunate timing, unless you're going for comedy, which I wasn't really, but sure. Let's spin with it. They're almost halfway through the race. Second out of 4 laps is over for a decent bunch of the people. Up ahead we have Sylphie and Chessbot fighting for position. Might be for my benefit. Chess not really doing too well this race, it seems. So maybe there might be a chance for me as well. Getting another position out of this, but we'll have to see. I would really like the rain to stop, because I'm not too great with it, and just as I say it, it's starting to calm down again. The road is starting to dry up, and that is definitely preferable on my end. I don't know if I was maybe a bit better at keeping my control during the rain, then I might be able to get the advantage through it, but right now I'm just way too much of a risk, just completely screwing myself over doing any raining phase, so I would rather not have to deal with that. Chess apparently went for a pit stop, so that might explain his position here and why I'm now in 5th position. But yeah, so far not too much is happening anymore. Could be interesting once Chess has repaired. I might not even be able to keep the position, but then again, yeah, Chess is really falling back now, so might have taken a long time to get to the repair bay. So I think I should be safe on this position now. It's quite a few percent of the next person, and hopefully I can actually even catch up with the person in front of me. 1, 2/3 seem to be completely on their own race, so I don't think anything will be happening with them unless it's from another person in 1, 2/3. Or first 2/3, whatever. Yeah, I'm trying really hard to get good lines here, catch back up to Sylphie, and hopefully managed to get an overtake. Also maybe trying to not go off the track here too much, because going into the dirt, while it is a bit faster initially, you're just gonna be slowing down way too much. It's not really worth it. That's another thing that I love about this game, that the physics and everything really works out to you're not really wanting to go off to the dirt sections too much. Sometimes it can be beneficial, but it's not really what's happening usually. I had the issue in GTA racing for quite a while back then, where off-road traction loss and everything was just so minuscule that it's usually a better idea to go off the track if you can still hit the checkpoint, just to get a better line. It's been kinda annoying. I've always wanted to have the side of the road be the track limit, really. And just as we talk about going off the road, that's also what Sylvie did, and therefore I'm in 4th position now, which is just about as good as I could have hoped for. We still got Sylvie right behind me. Also apparently I lapped another person who also took a pit stop there. So I hope I can defend this, but we'll just have to see about it. About another half lap to go, so tensions are high. There's potential for a good 4th place, but even if I end up in 5th, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but yeah, would kinda suck if I lose the position again, so let's hope. And let's try to be quick, but also safe enough to not completely mess up and spin out. Yeah, Sylvie is definitely catching on me, so this is not going great so far. This was maybe a bit too slow through here, but well, it's not as slow as my spin out on the 2nd lap of the 1st set, so I got that going for me. We got a potential blue flag situation coming up with Nick right in front of me once more. Going off the track a little bit here, nothing too crazy, but Sylvie just sticking right to me, gonna be careful here. It might come down to the last turn, so I don't really like having another person right in front of me, but considering that Nick has had these kind of issues with every corner, it's nothing too crazy. You could also hear Sylvie just completely redlining the car there. Apparently hit neutral instead of 2nd gear, so that saved me there. I think I might have been able to keep the position, but it would have definitely been a fight until the finish line. And this way it was just a little bit safer. So yeah, 4th position. Even managed to beat Chess over here, so interesting race once more. Coming up to the 2nd track, and once again it's going to be Anson Speedway. 6 laps around here. Here we go. And yeah, starting in the midfield might not be the smartest choice once again. 1st turn coming up, and it's gonna be a wild one. Once again, I have no idea what Nick is doing, but that setup has to be just about as bad as you can make it. I'm trying to stay clear of all the issues, and at least I managed to do so. So let's see which position it's going to result in. 8th right now, which is pretty neat. Got a decent amount of cars in front of me, some behind me, which I hope I won't have to battle with too much. But we'll have to see. Ideally, I'll be able to capitalize on somebody else's mistake instead of making my own ones. Battles at this point would be really detrimental, because they can slow you down to a point where everybody else is just driving away from you. This is a tightly packed field right now, and I'm really getting anxious about Shep being in front of me, which is why I kinda screwed up a little bit as soon as he got into that position. Because the worst thing that could happen is getting another one of those little lag tabs where he just basically sits still for a moment in the track, basically as if he was brake checking me running into him and getting engine damage from it. Thankfully that didn't happen. I got a position which I might now have to surrender to raging. But so far we are just neck and neck for the most part. Second lap, down to 8th again. And yeah, braking with these cars is always a bit of an issue. Really hard to do, especially if you have such a hard braking zone for a turn, and it's also partially in another bend, so you cannot just go straight. It's not really the easiest thing. Also, Sylvie came there out of nowhere, apparently went off in the first turn and got right back on in front of me, and these are the kind of lag tabs that I've been talking about. Thankfully no real damage, but lost me another position. Finny just managed to squeeze on by while I was spun out. So yeah, at the end it's at least not a boring race, but these kind of lag issues, I hope we can get those fixed. I hope there's a way to make the stuff a bit smoother. But that's likely gonna, if it's ever going to happen, it's gonna be some point down the line. Who knows? Yeah, I'm just trying to get the car through the turns, which is once again not really happening all that well. I wonder why it's lagging so hard. Like, I've been watching back some of my videos just to check the frame rate, and it might be actually something to do with Windows Media Player, that it doesn't really want to load the videos correctly. I had some issues with it for one of the sessions that I wanted to record, where the videos just didn't load. And they are completely screwing up the brake here. Going into a bit of a sick drift as a way to make this back up, but didn't really do much for me. But yeah, I still got Finny somewhat close, Nick being lapped once again. But yeah, pace-wise, I'm not really making any advancements here. I'm just barely able to hold on to my position. I remember this whole thing being happening on an actually quite busy day, and I only managed to get onto the server last minute and all of that, so yeah, safe to say that I wasn't too focused on the actual driving at that point. Yeah, coming back around to the start finish on the end of the third lap, so halfway through the race. And I think we might actually be skipping ahead here a little bit. Oh, this time around I'm actually being a bit closer to Finny, so we might be better off letting this run, but yeah, likely nothing really happened for the past few turns. Yeah, being closer to Finny might be actually ending up in a showdown here. I think there was one location where we really ended up battling, although Finny is already pulling away from me again, so might not be too much happening here either. With some of these races I try to watch them back and really figure out the important parts. But with this one I decided to go against it, and this is just turning out to be another not too interesting lap here. Yeah, we got really nobody too close to me, either in front of me or to the back, so I'm just going to skip a few things here. This should be the final lap now. Once again, just 8th position. Finny a bit ahead of me, Failer behind me, but also decent ways away, and we are about to lap Phoenix over here. Yeah, definitely some traction and oversteering issues on Phoenix end right there. In the end, this wasn't really for position, this was just me trying to get past them without having any issues, having to slow down too much, and I think that worked out beautifully, all things considered. But yeah, I really need to find a better line through the through these chicanes here. Again, not the easiest ones with understeery cars. And maybe I also just need to do a bit more training before the events. But usually I just join them spontaneously and can't always commit to do much prep work for them. So yeah. Wish I could be doing better, but with the amount of time that I can put into this stuff, it is what it is sometimes. Okay, here we go for the final race once again. Steel mill run. 5 laps. About to get started, hopefully. And we have a decent amount of people in the race. This seems to be more than 10 once more, and it's nice. Also, you may have seen that there's something weird going on. I'm in the list twice. Basically what happened is, I wanted to represent the Porsche faction a bit more in this race, and on my main character I didn't have an inline 4 Fortum, so I actually had to leave the server, switch characters, and then get back into here with my actual secondary character from the Hoki server, because I have this set up here for the inline 4 Fortum, and yeah, I forgot to leave the event before leaving the server with the other characters, so that's still on there. Yeah, I managed to get in first. Try to run past everybody else, just getting out of the way, just getting away from them as well, and just running away with pole and winning the race. That would be the dream. And then I did this thing. And then I also had issues getting the checkpoint for some reason. I don't know what happened there. The car just got really grippy and grippy in the braking zone, and that for some reason, I don't know if I even tried to steer, but it really stepped out on me in a weird way, and that just resulted in those things happening. But here we go, now I'm in 7th or 6th position. Trying to avoid some of the weirdness, but I mean, honestly, it's kind of fun being in the midfield, as long as you're not victim to some leg hits and that kind of thing. We got Chess in another Fortum and Aging and Scum right ahead of me. So this is a good representation of the different cars that are available for the subclass. Only the Beamer wasn't there. And yeah, on the way into the second lap, this happened. So this must have been a desync between Raging and me, because this was absolute murder on my end. Ended up hitting the wall with the back a little bit, which gave me engine damage because of course the Fortin has the engine in the back. So yeah, this isn't great. At least I'm not having any radiator damage, so I can at least keep going with that without having to care about overheating too much. But yeah, the engine damage definitely took off a bit of performance, so yeah, this might not be a winning one for me. People are getting ahead of me already, so might just be about defending. And yeah, for the second lap I completely overdid the braking there. Trying to get smooth lines through the corners to at least take the speed if I cannot rely on my engine power to accelerate that well anymore. So trying to get this done, trying to be quick. But yeah, basically with the lack of engine power, with me knowing that I'm now slower than likely everybody else in the race, unless they also got damaged, I'm trying to make the most of it, and so far it's actually working. I doubt I'll be able to overtake anybody else here anymore, and that was also a weird little leg spike there that just moved everybody around on the track. But at least I'm ways ahead of the next person. So this is a nice little buffer to have. It's coming around for... Sorry, I'm having a bit of an issue now that the temperatures have been rising here. It's gotten really warm all of a sudden over the last few days, so yeah, still trying to adjust to that. And my throat is kinda not working in tandem with everything else here, giving me a bit of a hard time. But yeah, so far being able to somewhat keep up with Raging and Scrum, while everybody else slowly getting closer from behind. It's not the worst, also not the best. A bit of a run-in with Nick. Considering how that's been going, he should really be staying off the track in my opinion. Like, whatever is going on with that car, it's just completely useless on the track. As you see there. Might have been just made for another purpose, but I don't know. It's certainly not a good race setup, whatever is going on there. Something apparently also happened with Chessbot, who started swearing in chat, so who knows. Yeah, people behind me are slowly getting closer again. I'm trying to stay away from them, but what can you really do? Getting a few nice lines through those first few turns. Also getting a really nice line through here. Maybe need to steer in a bit sooner, because I had to slow down in order to not get off the track, but yeah. Apart from that, it wasn't too bad. At least I got the A-pace pretty well. But yeah, Sylvie and Finny are basically on my back right now, breathing down my neck, so this is gonna be interesting, especially with me being handicapped through my engine damage. So Sylvie just overtakes me like nothing. Not really too much I can do about that. I can still hope for a few mistakes from their end, but who knows. We also got place number 7. Some are closing in. But yeah, I'm still trying to put up a battle, at least keep up with Sylvie and potentially go for an overtake again. But that turn really screwed me over. So right now I'm trying to hold off Finny, but I mean, we'll see how it goes. Definitely not the best first turns over here. Stuck on the outside right after, but with this being an S-band now, this might be a good way to cut back and all of that, but yeah, no such luck. I overcooked it a little bit and almost spun out after. So Finny is now also in front of me on the last lap, but I mean, maybe I can get him back, who knows. Also, next guy coming in, trying to overtake. This is Capapri again. Sorry, trying to pronounce that name. Too many P's for me. So yeah, down in 6th position, potentially might be losing that as well, but after that I should be good. 8th position is definitely quite a ways further away from me. But yeah, last few turns, last chicane. Last turn is coming up right there, so we should be okay hopefully. This is gonna be a tight finish. Just don't screw it up. If they overtake me because of the whole engine damage thing, that's okay, but it would be really annoying if I just completely mess up the last turn and lost the position due to that. But yeah, I at least managed to keep 6th position, which, all things considered, wasn't the worst one. So that was pretty decent. But yeah, having engine damage for half of the race gonna be limited on what you can do, and it also got a bit annoying that people just got onto the track with a drift car and a rotator immediately. Should have maybe given people a bit more time because there's still others racing, but hey. Once again, this is all a bit cleaner once we get back onto the event server. But yeah, overall, this has been really good racing. So yeah, we're just gonna have to see how it goes from here. I hope the event server will be back up for the next one, which is going to be a server versus server event. I don't know if they're even going to be using our event server. We'll just have to see. But anyways, this is gonna be it for me for this event. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, have a good one, and bye bye.